Hello and welcome back. In this optional lesson, we are going to look at make config method in Flask, and 99% of the time you may not have to use it, but just in case you should know, here it is. I'm already in the project folder L17, and in this we are going to create the app.py file, and addition to that we are going to also create the myconfig.py file. So myconfig.py. And in the previous lesson where we try to inherit the config from Flask, this time we are going to create the entire config from scratch. And for that, here in the myconfig, we are going to create a class called myCustomConfig that inherits from dictionary. And so in it we have the init method that has attributes self, root underscore path, and defaults is equal to none. Now inside of this we are going to inherit from dictionary. So super dot underscore init underscore parenthesis. So what this will create? This will create an empty dictionary where we can populate all the values. Then we are going to do self dot update defaults or open close parenthesis. That's the empty dictionary. So this will add the values. So this will add values passed uh, from the dictionary, and we'll see those will be coming in from the app.py file. And additionally we can create some key value pairs manually. So root path, so let's say root path is the key, and for that we create a value root underscore path. And so we are sort of adding these manually, and then more we can do custom underscore message. Again, this is where we are going to add manually. So hello from my custom config, and this is also a manual entry. So that's our config.py file. What we are going to do next is go in the app.py, and let's first import Flask with the capital F, and then we are going to import the myconfig. So from config import, we are going to import the class which is my custom config. Then uh, before we initialize our app, here is what we are going to do. We are going to create another class my flask that inherits from Flask. And the reason we are doing this, as we talked about in the previous lesson, is we want to use our custom config. And for inside of this we are going to create a method called make underscore config that will sort of override the existing original method uh, make config in Flask. So this has attributes self, and instance underscore relative is equal to set that to false. Now what this will do is uh, it'll it'll uh, it will create a dictionary that will have values that will update the base config. And for base config, then base config is equal to super dot make underscore config instance relative. So what this does is it calls on the original make config method from the base Flask class, and then gets it pre-populated with default configuration dictionary object and saves it into the base config. So essentially this has the default values, and these are coming from Flask. Next, what we do is create custom. So custom is equal to my custom config, the one that we created, self dot root underscore path. So that's one attribute, and then we pass in a dictionary where we have debug, the key, and the value is true. Then we have custom underscore key, and for this again the value is custom config loaded. So we have these custom values, and let's put that back up there. We have these custom values, and then we are going to update the base config update based on these custom values that we just have created. And so this sort of uh, puts all the new custom values that we have created into action. After that, we are simply going to return base underscore config. Now we can initialize the app. So app is equal to my Flask. Remember, we are going to use my Flask to initialize the app and not Flask, because that's the whole purpose of doing this, is to have custom config. So if we initialize with Flask, we won't have that custom config. And then we can create a decorator app.route, just a forward slash for the root URL, and we create a function home, and in this we are simply going to return a string with all the values we just talked about, starting with let's create a header custom config example, and in this the values, let's say p for paragraph. First is app dot config custom underscore key, and so that's one, and we close that with forward slash angle bracket p, and then we have the next one, which is app dot config, and then we have custom underscore message, and again we close that off with forward slash angle bracket p and the closing quotation marks. Something is missing, I think. We have these codes right here. We do have the h1 closing h1, and then we have the this which is good, app.config, and then we have this thing is looking good. I don't know why this is not getting highlighted. Okay, maybe not. App.route, this is also fine. F home up, forgot the f string f. All right, next we need if name is equal to main, then app.run debug is equal to true. So now when we go back to our terminal, let's say cd, I'm going to navigate to desktop L17. Okay, cd L17. All right, so we are in the folder. Now we say python app.py. It does run, and now if we go back in the browser, type this, and we see that the custom config is loaded, and hello from my custom config. So we are able to read from this my custom config. So what uh, so briefly what we have done in this particular lesson is we created a custom class from scratch which does not inherit here from config, create set some values manually, and then we created my Flask class that inherits from Flask, but then we use our custom config to update the base config that is there, and then use that here in the home function that we have created. So that was it for this lesson. I hope to see you all in the next lesson. Until then, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.